Ghostwire Tokyo is an odd video game in all the right ways. There are RPG influences, hallmarks of open world games, and an undercurrent of unhinged horror and the supernatural. It would have been easy for all of that to combine into a digital slog, but instead the final product makes for a pleasant, imperfect stroll through Tokyo. The city is covered in a mysterious fog at the start of the game that turns all humans into spirits. Akito, the player, manages to survive this thanks to the spirit of a ghost hunter named KK inhabiting his body. The two then go about trying to take on the man behind it all, Hanya, while trying to find Akito's sister. This is easier said than done, as the streets swarm with enemies called visitors gathering up spirits and corrupted torii gates pumping out fog. These enemies range from faceless businessmen with umbrellas to imposing women with giant scissors. While easy enough to deal with while sneaking, they can swarm or corner you if given the opportunity. Ethereal weaving, the bread and butter of taking them on, is elemental blasts of wind, fire, and water. Akito unlocks other gear like a bow and talismans, but ethereal weaving is how it's really done. Pummeling an enemy eventually exposes their core, which can be grabbed to immediately destroy them. Juggling gear and positioning in combat can be a lot. Akito can move swiftly when he wants to, but traversal is overall a bit clunky, and more than once I found myself backed into a corner I didn't realize was there, only to see a significant chunk of my health disappear for all my careful plotting. But the little touches in Ghostwire Tokyo go a long way. Something as trivial as Akito drumming his fingers on top of a phone has haptic feedback via the DualSense controller for each time his finger hits it. The descriptions of Japanese foods or relics have no reason to exist, but paint a fuller picture of the place. And yes, you can pet the dogs. Plural. There are dozens of small, deliberate design choices like this, which could feel convoluted or overwhelming, but instead manage to come across as charming. Ghostwire Tokyo is by no means a perfect video game. Ultimately, I was less interested in the story than the city itself, and while it took longer than it has for me historically, the game's open world did eventually wear on me. It is, however, a perfectly fine video game, and an example of what the PlayStation 5 can do in the right hands. For Comicbook.com, I'm Roland Bishop, and I give Ghostwire Tokyo a 4 out of 5.